You're up.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here to present tonight. My name is Chris King, and I am the Capital Campaign Chair for the Girls Inc. and Boys Club campaign. With me tonight, we have Amy Dillon, who is President and CEO of Girls Inc. What I also want to mention, too, is that Amy just came on board for the National Girls Inc. Association as well, so we're very lucky to be represented by her here in this community. I also have Matt Hale, who is a board member for the Boys Club. John Hartnett apologizes for not being here tonight, but he had a previous commitment with the High School Hall of Fame. One thing I'd like you all to consider tonight is the impact that Girls Inc. and the Boys Club has had on you. As I look back on my life, I've had a lot of interaction with both of these organizations. And it's amazing to me how many people in our community have been touched by this. And one thing I thought was really kind of interesting to start with, I love this idea of the Ignite Grant. It's about starting something, it's about doing something new. And I think this fits really well into our campaign. We want to ignite the future. And our campaign is opening doors and changing lives. So we are literally, Girls Inc. and the Boys Club, their doors are open to every child in this community, and they're constantly focused on changing lives. So I think igniting the future is just a perfect way to do it. And we look at this as a great opportunity for a partnership with the Blue River Community Foundation. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Amy to tell us a little bit about Girls Inc. and some of the changes that have been going on.
Thanks, Chris. Again, as Chris said, thank you so much for this opportunity. We are very excited about what has been happening at Girls Inc. over the last 5 years, and then beyond, before that, 20 years before when our center was first established. In 2010, we did a study that indicated where we needed to go to grow and serve more girls in our community. And at that time, we had served, in 2010, 875 girls in a comprehensive fashion on an annual basis. And my board of directors put into action and a plan to increase the number of girls that we served in a comprehensive fashion throughout Shelby County. And by the end of 2014, we had grown over 83% to over 1,600 girls served. I wanted to also add that we always do an annual report every year, and to conclude 2015, we served 1,820 girls in a comprehensive fashion through our before school, after school, summer camp, sports programs that include gymnastics, basketball, and volleyball, as well as an outreach program that we're delivering to every single 7th and 8th grader throughout Shelby County for the past 2 years. And so we've had a fairly significant growth, which has impacted our annual operating funds, of course, by about 40% over that 5-year span. And so we've had some great success raising funds for that, but money is not able to be put aside to contribute to a building expansion. And so we're at capacity right now, and this campaign is basically moving us in the direction to get to the next step so we have more capacity.
Thanks for having us. Like Chris said, my name is Matt Hale, and I'm on the board of directors of the Shelbyville Boys Club. I've been on the board there for over 10 years. I grew up there, so it's close home to me. My father was on the board there, so it's something I've been involved with. My daughter participates at Girls Inc. and my son at the Boys Club. Let me give you a little background on where we've come from with the Shelbyville Boys Club. Our after-school program has grown from 95 kids to 220. We are affiliated with the Shelbyville Central Schools and the free lunch program, which serves an average of 160 kids a day. They come through our facilities there for the free lunch during the summer and during after-school food, during the school year. So that's pretty, that has just grown leaps and bounds over the history. Some other programs we work with, other than the SHOCK program, which is a basketball group that we deal with the Shelbyville High School organization. A lot of kids participate in that from 2nd through 8th grade. We also are a host to the Shelby County Babe Ruth. They practice there during the wintertime in the baseball, and their board has their meetings there. We deal with the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts meet there on a monthly basis. They have their meetings in that facility. So there's a lot more groups that affect than just the ones at the Boys Club. We deal with a lot of the kids in the community. The Shelbyville location has grown over 80% since the last campaign drive in 1996 to over 1,300 kids. And I don't know if you're familiar, but they also had the Morristown program that was opened in 2002. And now has grown to over 300 kids, and their after-school program has grown from 35 to 85. So we are reaching a lot of kids throughout the county. So with that, Chris, turn it over to you.
So to tell you a little bit about our project, there are really three components of it. There's a capital component, which will be focused on building expansions and improvements. There is an operating component, which will make sure that we'll be able to operate within that space. And there's a sustainability component, which is going to build endowment for the programs. So Amy's going to touch on the building addition and some of the improvements at Girls Inc.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are at capacity in our building now. We're seeing 180 girls in our after-school program every single day after school. We have another 150 or so every day that's participating in gymnastics. And so we're seeing over 300 girls each day in our building. Our class sizes in 1996 were built to accommodate those needs and have a little bit of extra capacity. But as time has gone on and our usage has increased, we have needed space desperately. And so what we're looking to do is expand our facility by adding on classrooms about 3,000 square foot. And that will give us the designated classroom space that we need for each individual grade level, as well as a media center, where we focus a lot of effort on STEM-related activities, particularly technology, because that's so important to the youth today. And it will also give us additional security in our building, because we're going to have a very nice lobby and more direct access into our gymnastics room through a security checkpoint of sorts. And so we're always concentrating on the safety and security of our children, and this addition will allow us to improve that as well.
Some of the items that we'll be doing at the Boys Club that this grant will allow us to do would be, we have some major roof repair that's been, where the two buildings come together from the new expansion to the old. It's been an issue for a long period of time. We've had numerous instances of leakage and some water damage that we have to repair a wall with. This club was built back in 1960 where there was about 50 kids. So it was just a big game room and a gym. And since then, it's not only a sports-related association organization. Now we run our arts and crafts center out of the old locker room, which needs to be updated. And we have our food that we serve operates out of the old coat room. So we have a lot of space in there that's not being used to the best of its ability. And with the renovation, we can make a larger computer lab. We have high school kids that come in and help youngsters with the homework after school. We have an arts and crafts center that we have 50 kids a day use, in that capacity. And we could make a food serving area that would be more suitable for these kids. We also need some storage space. A lot of our storage has to be done off-site. We had a mini barn in 1965 that we still use, and it needs to be upgraded. We're going to build a nice 2-level storage facility where we can actually keep them lower and keep all the things we need on site that we better used. Transportation, Morristown has a lot of kids who out there. We do a lot of field trips, a lot of holiday camps that they need to be able to transport the kids to and from. And Shelbyville has one that they share with the Girls Inc. that they need a second one. So some of that money would go to transportation to get these kids to and from activities and events. Lastly, the major project that kind of got this role in our collaboration is the parking lot is in major disrepair. We've probably met every year for the past 8 years to kind of discuss how we can solve the parking lot issue, and every year we push it aside and say, well, we don't have the funds to do it, so we'll just put that on the back burner. But with this, we would be able to come in there, repair it properly, put the right type of pavement down where we can handle the bus traffic, which we did not have 20 years ago. We can handle, if you've ever been there on an afternoon at 6 o'clock, it's a zoo. And buses sit every day, so it gets beat up pretty good. So we can properly repair the parking lot. So.
And I think one key component is the endowment contribution. We understand how important that is from the foundation perspective. To be able to put a little bit away that's going to be sustaining for the future. So many of our donors that have been interested in this campaign have been interested in that, and that's why we think it's a good component for the foundation to consider as well. We have a very aggressive goal of $2 million for this project, and we've been working really hard to get there. It's absolutely critical that we raise every dollar that we can to be able to put toward this. It's not going to be easy to get there. So I want to tell you a little bit about our progress today. It's a collaborative project between Girls Inc. and the Boys Club. Everybody's been working together very well. It's been collaborative fundraising. There are members of both Girls Inc. and the Boys Club on our team that have started to put this together. And ultimately, it's going to be collaborative programming. So that's the main thing. We're looking to grow the programming. We've clearly grown the membership with these, with both organizations. And while the community hasn't grown, which I think is a really interesting point, so that means that it's really expanded to other age levels as well. Board contributions to this point have been over $325,000. I think that is really incredible. The board has stepped up at such a large level to help get us there. There's been huge support. You saw the Ryobi contribution of over $200,000. There's been huge support from the corporate community. There's been huge support from individuals. And city and county government are also stepping up too. They see the value of investing in our youth and what it's going to mean long term for this community. We have over 50 volunteers to date, and as we launch our campaign next week, we have a goal of over 200 volunteers that are going to be helping us work to raise money for this project. So I think it's important to note, at this point, we already have $1 million raised. So we have strong support to move this project forward. But like I said before, every single dollar that we raise is critical. And the contribution from the foundation, the show of support from the foundation is critical to helping us build that community support to help move forward. I want to talk really quickly about the impact. You know, as we mentioned before, this is about really expanding that collaborative program. Both organizations are working together like they have never worked together before. You know, there are programs, talk a little bit about the, if you don't mind.
For the last 2 years, we've been doing outreach programming in all of the county schools at the junior high and middle school level on the topic of preventing adolescent pregnancy. One of the barriers, Girls Inc. has always wanted to do this programming and reach out to that very critical age group. But one of the questions that the schools always presented to us is, well, you're coming in here and doing programming specifically for girls. What are we supposed to do with the boys while you're here? That's when we went to the Boys Club, and they stepped up and have provided an excellent partner in delivering a program for boys called Wise Guys. It talks about responsible behavior and understanding relationships, and it also teaches them about preventing adolescent pregnancy, because there's two people, you know, involved in a relationship, which is very important. And so we have had such a wonderful response from our schools. We're looking at moving forward now with an anti-bullying program and a self-esteem building program for every 5th and 6th grader in the community. And the Boys Club is going to be right there beside us delivering those programming. And we feel like that those ages are so critical and so important. And so we are so blessed, you know, from the Girls Inc. side to have the Boys Club involved, because we wouldn't be able to deliver our programs. And it's great that our youth in our community are getting a uniform, consistent message.
This project is literally going to touch thousands of lives in the community. There are over 3,000 kids that are served by both organizations right now. That's roughly a quarter of the kids that live in Shelby County. Talk about a community of 45,000 people, that's a big number. And it's throughout Shelby County. Being a Triton guy, I always thought the Boys Club was about Shelby. But I'm learning now, and I still, that's the great thing about it, you know, I still have the opportunity to use that facility. And it really does make a difference countywide. And it really is a community and an economic development driver. You know, there really are no after-school options like this in the community. This really is all that we have in Shelby County. So, you know, what they're able to provide at such a low cost is such a benefit to the folks that live here. When companies come to town, we want to show them the Boys Club and Girls Inc. so that they can see the value of having that in our community. One clear thing I think that we can say is that this project is going to have a huge impact on the future of Shelby County. It will change the future. For every kid's life that is touched that stays in our community, it's going to make it better. And I think that's why we've seen the overwhelming support we have so far. I also think it's important that we talk about the recognition that we want to bring to the foundation as part of this program. You know, we see this as a partnership with the foundation. And you know, we've talked a little bit about this idea of Ignite the Future. We would want to combine the logo for the campaign with the foundation's goal with Ignite, and ignite the future, you know, for the project. So it'd be our goal to do that. We'd also look at some naming opportunities with the investment as well. We also want to recognize each individual donor that was part of this program. So there would be a way that we work with you to do that, so that every family, every individual that contributed to Ignite would be recognized through this. And so really this is what we want to do. We want to ignite the future. Actually, we want to ignite their future. So with that, I'd open it up to any questions that you might have, and appreciate the opportunity. One thing I do want to say is that there are 3 great projects here in Can't Go Wrong. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here, and we know you will make a good decision.
The entire $2 million is going to be towards this project, and you mentioned endowments. Are you working on that at the same time, or is part of this money going into endowments?
Part of that $2 million will go toward endowment. So the Boys Club is working to raise $300,000 of endowment, and then the Girls Inc. is working to add another $150,000 to their already existing endowment. That would remain with the foundation as well.
We see an estimated 10 to 20% growth from statistics on going forward. And so we know that operating expenses are the main goal. We have to have some ability there to access some revenue streams for future items down the road.
Yes.
Both facilities are on South Miller Street, 710 and 904. How far apart? 2 blocks?
It shows the same parking lot.
So you want to do a facility expansion
Yes, sir.
of how many square feet
Around 3,000
to which existing facility?
to Girls Inc.
Which you own?
Yes.
And would the purpose of that be to combine the 2 facilities into one, or keep them separate?
Our plan is to keep the buildings separate. We operate a little bit differently. We do collaborate a great deal together, but because of the operation and the existing distance that is between the buildings, it makes the most sense to leave them separate at this time.
And there would be the desire in the expansion to bring the facilities any closer together physically?
Physically, it's not really an option to combine the facilities.
And a lot of the reasons too, I mean, they're part of it. Our parking lots right now is kind of maxed out. If we took any more of the parking lot, it'd be hard to accommodate.
Matt, scoot over. There you go.
I think another thing to note with our parking lot situation, we don't want to adversely impact our parking lot. We, as Matt said, it's kind of a zoo around 6 o'clock each evening. There's a battle for parking spaces. People park illegally. There's all kinds of conflicts with little kids running out, little kids running in, and vehicular traffic. And so we're wanting to make sure that we don't compromise the loss of any parking space.
As part of the project, are you planning to add parking space below the building, I guess, in the park area? Or what was I can't remember where the expansion was going to go for the parking.
Yes, one of the
Repeat that question, would you, for
Yes,
like
the question was, are there plans to increase parking? The answer to that is, ideally, we would like to do that. There's some opportunity down in Morrison Park behind the Boys Club, that if the funding comes in with where we need it to and our costs of the project are controlled, that we can partner with the city to improve that parking area, to have some overflow parking for the facilities.
that brings you right to 20 minutes. So good job with the time management.